Now, the lockdown might be keeping us apart, but one thing uniting us are vivid, bizarre and even downright disturbing dreams.
Well, dream expert and psychologist Ian Wallace join us now to make sense of these so-called Quaran dreams. Hi, Ian. So what's a Quaran dream? Why are we Quaran dreaming?
A Quaran dream is a really intense and vivid and quite scary dream, Phillip. And there's a couple of reasons for them. One is it's like the holiday dream phenomenon when you go on holiday. And because your timings have changed, your routine has changed, you're waking up at different times, you tend to remember your dreams as you wake up. And the other one is more fundamental and psychological. And that is the fundamental reason that we dream is to process emotions. And the more heightened our emotions are in waking life, the more anxious we are, then the more that we will use our dreams to process those emotions and start to resolve them. So that's really why we're having these Quaran dreams, and they're happening all over the world. It's a global phenomenon.
And it could be about anything. It's not just about the virus.
It's really nothing to do with the virus, Holly. We don't tend to use specific things like that from reality in the dream. Dreams are not just a flow of images, they're also a stream of emotions. So all the images that we create in our dreams are our way of portraying our emotional life.
And there are three main types, you say?
So the three main types are being chased, and it's usually being chased by something faceless, something anonymous, something we can't see, and we're continually trying to get away from it. And this reflects in waking life where we feel frustrated around what we usually chase in waking life, pursue our ambitions, we're chasing success, but we feel we can't really do that just now. The second most common one is being in some sort of restricted space, usually like a stone corridor for men. For women, it can be something like an underground river, and you're trying to get someplace, and the passageway or the river is getting narrower and narrower, and you're having to squeeze through all these little gaps and holes to try and get where you need to be. And the third most common one is the wrong number dream, where you're trying to use a keypad to telephone someone or a keypad to enter a security area in a building, and even though you know the number off by heart, you keep typing in the wrong number. And that dream is all about, in waking life, that we are trying to get our message across to someone, and we're trying to receive messages, but sometimes those messages might seem a little bit confused. So we're trying to understand what we do.
There's nothing dangerous here, nothing to worry about here. It's just your brain processing what's going on in these extraordinary times.
Yeah, really, there's no such thing as a bad dream. The dream doesn't happen to you. You happen to the dream, and you create everything that you experience in the dream as a way of updating your sense of self. So you're just really trying to help yourself in the dream and send yourself some messages that you can do something about in waking life.
OK, so what was my brain telling me? Because last night I dreamt I was at Wembley Stadium. Macaulay Culkin was there. He was doing some sort of TED Talk speech thing, but he was Kevin age in Home Alone. And he was walking around with a mic, and Dan, my husband, kept grabbing the mic and saying things. And I was getting really annoyed with him because nobody was laughing and it was really awkward. And he kept saying things more and more and more. And I was really embarrassed and I didn't know what to do. What's that?
That's a fabulous dream, Holly. So when you dream about being in a stadium at some event, this is a situation in your waking life, Holly, where you are playing to your strengths and you want to have your strengths and your talents recognised by a wider audience. So that's the audience in the stadium. And Macaulay Culkin, when he was in Home Alone, he was about 10 and a half years old, which is about the same time that you've been presenting this morning. So this is you reflecting in waking life about how successful you've been on this morning, how you've had your talents recognised, how you have the opportunity to have your talents recognised by an even wider audience. And your husband, Dan, who I imagine is very, very supportive to you in waking life, he represents your own tendency to maybe criticise yourself a little bit too much and to interrupt yourself and think you're not doing a good enough job, whereas in reality you're doing an absolutely tremendous job. So the action from the dream, instead of being a little bit too self-critical, is to celebrate your talents and allow other people to celebrate your talents too.
Oh, that's a nice dream.
That's a nice one.
Really, thank you.
And what about Holly's? This is another Holly here. No, it's not. It's Rachel. This is Rachel. She says, in a recent Quaran dream, I went to collect my son from preschool. When I got there, I couldn't find him, and only later did I realise that I wasn't supposed to be collecting him anyway. Instead, I should have been at the primary school collecting my 6-year-old son. And all of this was happening, I was wearing white stockings and suspenders.
Oh, gosh.
Well, what a great dream. So in this dream, what's happening is anytime we dream about a child, it's not really about a child in waking life. It's about some labour of love that we're looking after, something that we're nurturing and developing. And it's usually a talent that we want to play around with in some way. Anytime we dream about a school, it's about some lesson that we need to be learning, about learning new skills and doing new things. And the part about the white stockings and suspenders, that's something that a bride might wear. And anytime we dream about a bride or a groom or a wedding, we're thinking about how we can balance our commitments in waking life, how we can balance our commitments in our relationships. And because it's underwear, it's about being more open about some of the challenges that you might be going through to balance those commitments and make sure that everything's okay as you develop your own talents and learn new skills.
This is interesting. Amy says, since lockdown started, I've had 6 or 7 dreams where I've killed someone or covered up the murder. I never dream about the murder itself, just the aftermath of trying to keep it all under wraps and the panic of being found out. What does this mean?
So this sounds like quite a scary bad dream, but because there's no such thing as a bad dream, we have to understand what the imagery really means. And because dreams are not happening to us, we are creating the dream, we create all the characters in it. So when we're trying to conceal a murder or cover up a body, there's some aspect of our own character that we're trying to conceal or cover up. And again, it's usually something that we really want to do. It's some talent that we have or some desire we have. But very often it seems easier to be socially accepted and not actually display that talent or pursue that desire. So in Amy's dream, it's all about thinking about how she can use a talent and make it acceptable to other people. But a lot of the time, dreams are telling us that we shouldn't really spend all our time worrying about what other people think of us. We should actually pursue our own opportunities and develop our own talents.
And if a dream reoccurs, is that because you're still not dealing with what you're meant to be dealing with?
Yeah, that's absolutely it, Holly. So when we have a recurring dream, there's some message we've been sending ourselves. It's like a whole lot of letters piling up behind a letterbox. We just need to open up those letters and actually understand what the dream is telling us. And when that happens, as soon as we start taking action on the dream, then the recurring dream will fade away and we'll move on to something else where we can develop ourselves.
Thank you,
Fascinating,
Ian.
isn't
Thank
it?
you very much indeed.
Really
Thank you.
good.